Everybody to recording in progress. I'm going to say I've got it. I have to do the mouse here as well. So there we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome everybody online. I see we've got some very special guests online with us today, all the way from India, which is great, and we're going to be introducing them in a second. Welcome. It's great to see you all here. I'm glad that you're all sitting at the back of the room. I don't really know why, but Dakir is sitting on his own here, so you're very welcome to come and join him here. So it's great to have you. My name is Alain Barker. I'm going to be holding the microphone in my hand today, and I'm very honored to be introducing the meeting as always. As I ponder the week, I'm so grateful for the abundance of joy. Not only online we have joy, but we have lots of joy in our lives, especially with such amazing weather. I ride to work every morning with the sun on my back, and I'm really happy not to be freezing along the way. And the fragrances around us and the birds, it's like a symphony of sound. It's just absolutely amazing. With that joy, I also struggle daily with the persistent sense that this world is somewhat insane in so many different spaces. The violence, the climate issue, so much that we struggle with. And yet in the middle of it all, I've come to realize that I'm a Rotarian because I believe, to put it simply, that we're part of the solution. Holding hands through acts of service above self, with generosity both small and big, and the communities we build together, both here and around the world. And for that, I'm grateful. Dave, would you like to come and offer your reflection? Mike.
Thank you, Elaine. Okay. Thank you all. Many of you in the club know that we sponsor an Afghan refugee family here in Bloomington. I think that family's unique ethnicity is an important part of their life story that is worth knowing. The family is ethnic Hazaras. I confess that I had never heard of the Hazaras until I met the family a few months ago. As you can see from the pictures of the Hazaras, many have distinctive facial features that Americans might associate with peoples of East Asia. Their story is one laced with, unfortunately, racism, abuse, historical erasure, and perseverance. There are myths that the Hazaras people came from Mongolian descent, but these are unproven. The Hazaras were once the largest tribe in Afghanistan until the latter 19th century. It's thought that the Hazaras were Buddhists until around the 1700s. Today, the Hazaras in Afghanistan are primarily practicing Shia Muslims. Most Afghans today are of the Pashto tribe and are Sunni Muslims. The Taliban, Afghans' rulers, today view the Hazaras as Muslim heretics. So let that soak in. Next slide. Oh, thank you. No, back one. Sorry. The Hazaras in the last 150 years have had their lands taken from them and been forced to retreat to the less fertile central region, shown here on the map. In the 1880s, a holy war was declared on all Hazaras by a Sunni Muslim ruler, and many were killed or enslaved. 60% of their population was killed or displaced around that time. Slavery was not abolished in Afghanistan until 1921, and as late as the 1970s, Sunni imams preached and taught that the killing of Hazaras was a key to reaching paradise. It's unclear how many Hazaras have been murdered, but it is clear that they have suffered unimaginable discrimination and abuse that continues through today. In 2001, the Taliban destroyed the largest statues of Buddha in the world in the Bimiyan Valley in Afghanistan. This was an act of historical erasure of the heritage of the Hazaras. In recent time, both the Islamic State terrorists and the Taliban have been responsible for many atrocities against the Hazaras. Girls' schools and weddings have been bombed, and one maternity hospital was stormed, and all the new Hazaras' mothers were killed. There have been many summary executions of Hazaras' men and boys by the Taliban in Afghanistan. When we think of the Afghans that fled their country when the US withdrew, we tend to think of them as a single group of refugees. But each individual and each group of individuals has their own story. The story of the Hazaras is a story worth knowing. It teaches us far more than some about the history of Afghanistan. It teaches us about humanity, tribalism, and prejudice. Thanks largely to many efforts of this club, one gentle Hazaras family is safe. That is something that should make us all proud. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dave, and to you especially, and Sarah Laughlin, who I believe has just walked in, to both of you for the leadership of this absolutely incredible, life-changing project. And what a joy it is to meet these family members as well, and how much they've brought to our community. So thank you very much for everything that you do. Okay, so in the joy side of things, we have birthdays to celebrate. Gus Chikalis' birthday was last Sunday. For us, it was Easter. And probably next Sunday is his Easter, right? So happy birthday to Gus. Don
Thank
Kapuk.
you.
Oh, good. Don Kapuk is April 10th. Martha Foster is not with us today, but hopefully online. Today, April 11th, Lexi Walters, likewise today. Happy birthday to them both. John Armstrong, who's in the room. Tomorrow. Happy birthday tomorrow. Yes, happy birthday. Sarah Cochran, her birthday is on the 14th, and Kay Leach on the 15th. So happy birthday to them all. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. So hopefully we've not left anybody out. Okay, Marilyn Wood is in her 8th year of being a Bloomington Rotarian. Well done, Marilyn. Yay. Now, Ron Barnes. Can anybody guess how many years Ron Barnes has been a member of the Rotary Club? Shh. You're not allowed to say. 33? Yeah, getting closer. Anybody else? Anybody else? 35, getting warmer. Yes, keep going. 40 is a little cold on the other side. 39. Isn't that amazing? So Ron first joined the Moline, is that how you pronounce it? Moline Rotary Club in Illinois in 1973. Then moved from clubs to the Palos Hills, Orlando Park, and then finally here in Bloomington. So Ron, we're just thrilled and honored to have you with us, and congratulations on your 39 years. Very good. Okay, and Mr. Jim Sims, do you want to join me here at the podium and welcome our guests?
Thank you, Alana, and thank you for those reflections, Dave. Really appreciate it. Did anyone else have parking problems besides me? So I'm in lot number 2, but I made it. Yeah, but I made it and I'm happy to be here. But I'm even more happy to introduce our guest. And we'll start with Alex Smith. Sorry.
She's right over there, Alex.
Alex Smith, who's a scholarship winner from Ivy Tech. Can you stand and let us welcome you? Thank you. And we also have Isfaria. Did I get close? Ajay. And she's IU's Master's Kelly School Masters of Science. Welcome you this evening. I hope I didn't mangle that too bad. Please stand up. Thank you. Thank you. And Joy, do we have any visitors on Zoom?
Yes, Jim, we do. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. We are very honored to have with us the family members of our distinguished guest speaker today. So we have joining us Shavi Sharma and Colonel Sandeep Sharma. So we warmly welcome you to Zoom and to our Rotary meeting today.
Thank you so much and good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you, Tim and Joy, and welcome to everybody. Okay, and now we're going to have a very special moment. We have a new member of our club to celebrate, Sam Udak. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly introduce Sam. Sam, welcome. It's really great to have you with us. And for those of you who have yet to meet Sam, and we've got Trent Deckard as a sponsor, hailing from South Bend, Sam Udak arrived in Bloomington in the fall of 2011 to begin his undergraduate career at Indiana University, graduating in 2014 with degrees in religious studies and Jewish studies. He continued his work in Judaic studies at the University of Michigan. Anybody here from Michigan? Yeah. Returning to Bloomington, thankfully, in 2016. Sam has grown increasingly involved in this community. Thank you for being here. As he has learned to call Bloomington his home, he began volunteering with the Monroe County Democratic Party in 2017 and spent the 2018 election season helping patrons at the farmers market and county fairs register to vote with helping with outreach. In May of 2018, he began his role as the Director of Development at Middleway House, a support and crisis center that we all know well. By the next year, Sam has been appointed the Deputy Chair of Fundraising for the Monroe County Democratic Party, a member of the 2019 Emerging Leaders class, and transitioned to a new role as Grants Manager for Middleway House. Sam has helped make breakfasts at Shalom Beacon, and in 2021, he served as the Treasurer of the Monroe County Democratic Party. Most recently, he began a new role as the Director of Grant Development at Ivy Tech Bloomington, and couldn't be more thrilled to be joining Bloomington Rotary. I guess that's for you to say, but good. Welcome.
Okay, and Sam is getting married shortly, as soon as the election's over, I think you said. So Sam Udak, on behalf of the board and membership of the Bloomington Rotary Club, it is a great pleasure to welcome you as the newest member of the club. We look forward to the fellowship that we will share, as well as your participation in the club projects that make our club, community, country, and world a better place. Though Rotary is not a political organization, Rotarians are vitally concerned with good citizenship and the election of effective leaders to public office. While Rotary is not a religious organization, it is built on those highest principles that have served as a moral compass for people throughout the ages. Rotary is an organization of business, professional, and community leaders pledged to uphold the highest standards and ethical and moral standards. Rotarians believe that worldwide fellowship and peace can be achieved when people work together and uphold the Rotary motto of service above self. Rotary activities exemplify the partnership, respect, and generosity that one would expect from people who believe they have a responsibility to help others. Sam, you have been chosen for membership in the Bloomington Club because of your fellow members believe you to be a leader in our community and because you possess qualities to champion the methods and principles of Rotary. You are a representative of your vocation and talents within our club and community. You now become an ambassador of Bloomington Rotary, carrying the ideals of service to all within your sphere of influence. Our community will know and judge Rotary by your character and service. We will also look to you for inspiration as we strive to become better Rotarians. We, as in Trent, will now pin you with the distinguishing badge of a Rotarian, your Rotary pin. Try not to stick it. We ask that you wear your Rotary pin with pride, not only to all Rotary functions, but in your many endeavors as a symbol of your commitment to Rotary ideals and our recognition of your contribution towards a better world. Fellow Rotarians, please rise and welcome our newest Rotarian, Sam Udak. I'll take some pictures.
Congratulations. This is fantastic. Oh, pictures. I need to get a picture. But we can do the picture later. How about that? Because I don't have my camera ready. But we'll do it. Make
We'll
sure
just
that we
take
do
it
it
offline.
afterwards.
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you. Welcome. This is absolutely welcome, Sam. It's great to have you part of the club. Okay, we have Mike Baker and Peggy Frisbee. Are you both here or on the online? Yes, you here. Great. Peggy, it's great to have you both here. We have a foundation update. And he's going to do that.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think we're almost ready there. Last month, our Rotary Foundation Committee asked all of you to let us know how well you think we are doing in helping you know more about the foundation and about all the good work it does. We sent out a survey and got a nice response, which is really very helpful. So we wanted to share with you what we learned, and we'll do that now. Okay, so next. So we asked for primary areas of questions. The first one that we wanted to know a little bit about whether or not your awareness of the Rotary Foundation, the Rotary International Foundation, whether or not your awareness of the foundation, its mission and impact has been changing during this Rotary year since July of 2022. And a good portion of you said yes. And I think of the rest, I'm sure there are some who maybe we just need to keep on working and others who probably are very, very knowledgeable already. Okay. The next thing we did ask about is whether or not you know and understand the difference between the Rotary International Foundation and the Bloomington Rotary Foundation. And we had some concern in our committee to make sure that everybody really does get the fact that we have the two foundations working. They are both great opportunities to participate in helping others. And that we have an understanding that the Rotary International Foundation funds projects throughout the world and in our district and our club, and uses those contributions and for those kinds of things. And that the Bloomington Rotary Foundation, which was, I don't know the exact date of creation, but I think probably within about the last 10 years, is, no, 20, 30, 87. I am way off. Okay, that foundation receives contributions also from our club members, and more recently is holding our share of the Rotary Foundation, the Rotary Toast that we do every year, and is using those monies locally for many good things. Sometimes matching together what comes from the Rotary International Foundation with the monies from our local foundation. We also asked about your giving to the Rotary Foundation. Nearly half of you who responded to the survey have already or plan to increase your giving. What a wonderful commitment, really, to the Rotary Foundation. Thank you. And thank you to all who continue to give, but have not planned to do an increase. All of these contributions, remember, are supporting Rotarians everywhere to provide clean water and sanitation, improve education, help with maternal health, help in disasters, and not to forget to mention, continue the fight against polio. Then we also, at our committee, really wanted to have a little more information about what ways you're giving, what maybe you're responding to and making any gifts. So by far the largest portion, nearly 80%, are giving quarterly as part of the quarterly statements. Your contribution appears in addition to your fees, and then a very simple way to participate, just pay that and Natalie is tracking those contributions and then making sure that the funds end up at the Rotary Foundation. Some of you are responding to a call to action. We did make a special appeal at the end of the calendar year. And some responded to that or maybe to something else. And we had instituted a link, a direct link to donate directly to the Rotary Foundation, a roundabout that continues to appear. Maybe not greatly used, but it's there, and it is also an extremely easy way to make contributions. So we wanted to, at this point of the year, also remind you that for this particular Rotary year ending June 30th, our club has a goal to raise $18,000 for the Rotary Foundation. Currently, we're at about 72% toward our goal. We have $13,010 and we have 28% to go, which sort of seems to line up pretty nicely with the fact that we're 3/4 through the year. But we don't want to lose sight of this, and we are got some new ideas about maybe put some grease on the wheels for giving. And on that note, I'm actually going to hand it over to Mike Baker.
Thank you. Now the ask, right? So we're gonna do something, our club has been able to do this every once in a while. And you want to flip the slide up there. So we've got a challenge, and there's two different ways that we're trying to increase the donations. For some of you that have not made a decision yet, you're new and you haven't really sorted out, your giving plans. We have some donors within the club that are willing to do a 2-to-1 match. If you make a commitment, all you have to do is go to Natalie and say, I'd like you to add $50 a quarter or whatever amount you want. So $50 a quarter, that's about $4 a week. And then that'll go towards your Paul Harris Fellow. We will match that 2-to-1. So anybody newly signing up and making a commitment, if you sign up today and say, here's 50, so that's going to be 200 for the year, even though it won't all be in this Rotary year, we will immediately match that with 200. If you do 500, we'll match the 500. You do 100, we'll match that. For those that are already giving or giving in different ways, we're going to do a 1-to-1 match. So between now and June 28th, which is the end of our Rotary year, anything that you say, here's an additional amount that I'm willing to give to the foundation this year, we'll match that 1-to-1 with donors. Just tell Natalie, this is what you'd like to do. We'll make sure to take care of it. But wait, there's more. For those of you in the next hour that would do anything, I've got a set of jujitsu knives. No, that's the wrong commercial kind of thing. But we really want you to consider it if you haven't done anything. If you have any questions, you can email me, mbaker@bluemarble.net. You can find my phone number in the Rotary Guide if you have one, or just ask me. For those of you that have been in club a long time and you're not really sure, am I close to getting a Paul Harris Fellow? Where am I in the process? Do I have $600, $800 already towards my 1,000? Just get a hold of me. I've got the chart. I can look your name up and say, hey, you're only $200 away. You put in 100, we'll match it, and that'll get you there. So a couple different ways you can do it. If you have any questions, please ask. Thank you again for supporting the foundation. As Peggy says, the good thing about it is the Rotary District will come to us every year and say, we have $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 that we can give you back to use in your community, but you need to match it. And that's what we use the Rotary Foundation money in our local to match. But so your international donations do come back to the community every year, part of them. So any questions, please give us a call.
Okay. Thank you so much, Peggy. So Mike, what's the value of your mortgage on the house right now?
The what?
No, it's okay. Just wondering if you, the underwriting of this extremely powerful program. So thank you both very, very much for all that you do in the foundation. Okay, just a few quick things. Marilyn Wood, are you here? Or is she online? Okay, So we'll be sending you an email about this afternoon, but there is a great volunteer opportunity coming up on April 29th. It's called It Takes a Village. It's a combined effort by all 3 Rotary clubs. And it's basically providing, you'll remember this was the same thing as last year, and there's information on your table as well. A free community resource for parents, expecting parents, grandparents, little ones. The warehouse play areas will be open as well. So basically it's providing resources to families in the Bloomington community. And we will give you information about this. There's a lot of opportunity for volunteering that day, and hopefully all of you will jump at the opportunity. Okay, lunch buddies for the final quarter. There's information on your table. I've been able to send you it as well in the email that I sent you. We'll do that again sometime. Get your lunch buddy, go out for lunch, have some fun time together. The district conference, April 22nd. I think we've given you lots of information about that. So if you still want to go, make sure that you sign up as soon as possible. We'd love to see you there. And then a few things, Rotarians are always in the news. And this week I thought I would just give you a quick roundup here to see some of what's happening amongst you amazing people. Bill Brown it was in the news this past week as he provided information to Indiana Public Media about the new resource small towns in Indiana have available to them as they seek funding for projects that enable them to be environmentally resilient. Isn't that amazing? Thank you, Bill. Scott Shackelford, who we just love, has a new children's book called Lynn's Uncommon Life, which focuses on the first woman to win a Nobel Prize, who was Eleanor Ostrom, our IU favorite, Eleanor Ostrom. Congratulations to Scott. Connie Chikalis, I loved her performance this past weekend in Brown County Playhouse. She's featured in a play called Over the River and Through the Woods. I'm sure you all know that little rhyme. Trent Deckard, I just saw this morning. Congratulations to Trent. IUPUI Department of Communications 2023 Outstanding Alumnus. Congratulations, Trent. Yeah. Okay. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and well, thank you all very much for participating in the meeting. For those of you who know who you are, and I'm just going to jump over that because I think I would like to introduce our very, very special guest today. I have the privilege and honor of recognizing and introducing Sankalp Sharma, who's a globally recognized leader, has worked with Vice President Al Gore when he was Vice President, and others to promote concern for the environment in his native India and beyond, and with the United Nations as well, and governments across the world. Sankalp is about to complete his bachelor's degree in business management, entrepreneurship, and corporate management at the Kelly School of Business. During his 4 years here at IU, Sankalp has had a huge impact, won numerous accolades and awards, and was selected for IU's Board of AIMS, a unique advisory board composed of 12 student leaders who work with the Office of the President to seek solutions to complex problems confronting the university. Soon after arriving in Bloomington, Sankalp, Sankalp created People of IU, dyslexic Alan, yeah, the first student organization in the history of the university that connects students, faculty, and alumni from across schools to give back to the institution and create a ripple effect of positive energy and enthusiasm. There's so much more to say about this amazing guy. He's one of the shapers of our world. Someone who I look forward to watching as he grows into a career that will surely touch many on our planet. Please join me in offering a warm Rotary welcome to Sankalp Sharma.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It is an absolute honor to be here today and a very full circle moment for me. I think, let me give you a little bit of background to explain why this is full circle moment. So I'm originally from India, Bangalore, India. It's a 30-hour flight, very, very far away. And in India, I'm in 6th grade, and I decided that I wanted to work on climate change. I was very enthusiastic about climate change. I started doing little things in my school and my community. And I ended up deciding that I didn't want to wait till I was much older. I wanted to do something then and there. And I created an organization back home in India called the Such Foundation. Now, what the Such Foundation did was it worked on the 17 Sustainable Development Goals by the United Nations. solely with young people around the world. So the idea was to work on climate change, human rights, water conservation, all kinds of big world issues, and solely work with young people. Now, why young people? If you think back to your childhood, you will remember that there was a time in your life when you would go up to your parents and ask them questions about everything. Why do we sit on the table? Why do we sit on the chair? Why is food on the table? Why is blue blue and green green? Questions that either made our parents laugh, or if we got a tad bit too curious, we'd even get shouted at, right? Now, the thing with that was, as children, I realized we have the ability to have a free mind. We question everything around us, which helps young people around the world create some of the biggest solutions to the world's largest problems ever. And that was the idea behind my organization. I started that about 5 years ago. It is now present in over 11 countries, creating an amazing impact with a lot of developing countries in slums and orphanages, close to 9,500 young people there doing tremendous work, planting forests and working with different slums and orphanages. Now, in 2016, as Alain mentioned, it was recognized by Al Gore. I got to work with him, fly down to the US for the first time, and I was in Houston, Texas, loved America. Now, I come back a second time in 2017, and this time I was invited to the United Nations, and in New York, became one of the youngest Indian speakers ever to talk about my organization and the impact it has had. One thing I realized was I absolutely fell in love with the education system in the United States. When compared to India, India is a little bit more textbook heavy, and the US was a little bit more, real based. So it was real world based. It was based on the things that you do in the real world internships, things like that. That's when I decided to come to our beautiful Bloomington, Indiana, and Indiana University. Now, the first person I ever met in Bloomington who helped me move in, who showed me around town, was a Rotarian, Jim Bright. The first event that I ever attended in Bloomington was actually a Rotary meeting when Eron Davis was president in 2019. The first Christmas party I attended was the 2019 Rotary Christmas party. And my first ever speech in my 4 years here at IU was actually at the Rotary Breakfast Club. So coming here today is a very big full circle moment for me. I've seen so many familiar faces here, and it's just an absolute honor. Now, let me talk a little bit about people of Indiana University. So when you come from a different country, right, it is a huge culture shock. This is the first time that I'm living away from my family and my parents. I'm in a new country with a new culture, new food, a new way of life, and everything's very, very different. So 2019, my first semester was rather challenging. I was very uncomfortable. I was figuring things out. I was understanding how life works here. I was living in the dorms and I made some friends. And just as Hoosier hospitality goes, they showed me around Indiana. My entire first semester, they took me to their houses, showed me different parts of the state, took me to Chicago, Ohio, Kentucky. I traveled all across the Midwest. And towards the end of that semester, I noticed something unique happen. I always felt like I was missing home, but every time I came back from one of these little travels across the Midwest, IU began to feel like home for me. Very quickly, my friends became my family, and IU became my home away from home. That's when I decided that, hey, let's not wait till I'm an alumni to give back. Let's do something then and there for our university. Let's do something right now. And being a big public speaker, a big fan of TED Talks, that was my first idea. Let's create a TED Talks at IU. Now that already existed because IU has amazing students, 750 organizations. So instead of coming up with ideas, I started doing a tad bit more research. I started finding almost loopholes in a way. And one common thing that I found was that every single student organization at IU was either siloed within the school. So we had Jacobs organizations or Kelly organizations, or they were siloed within a passion. So dancing or singing or fundraising. There was no one organization that brought students, faculty, alumni, staff from around the university, across the schools together in one place. And that's when, inspired by the humans of New York, I decided to create People of IU. IU's first ever organization that really connects every single Hoosier and shares inspiring stories of the work they have done to build the university's global reputation that it holds today. Now, after I came up with the idea, building the team was really, really important for me, because this was an organization where a lean team of 6 or 7 people are going to work together for the next 4 years. So I didn't just want the best photographer or the best videographer. I wanted people on my team that represented IU and that were as passionate about this university as I was. So I went around, I met hundreds of people that second semester freshman year. Like literally, I would message people on Facebook, Instagram, friend's friend, family's friend. I troubled Jim a couple of times, I still remember. And I looked and looked and looked, and I found the perfect team. So we are a team of 6 people. Let's see if you can help me go to the next slide. There we go. We're a team of 6 people. Some of them are here today. Our photographer and videographer aren't just Kelly students with a passion for photography and videography. They're actually media school students pursuing both of these as full-time careers. Our director of marketing is a marketing major out of the Kelly School of Business. Me and my vice president are both very fond of networking and business students as well. And finally, Aishwarya Ajay, who's here at the back of the room, our director of content, writes every single story that we put out. So she is a psychology major out of the psychology school, and she dives deeper into every single person's mind and weaves out that perfect story. Now, with people of IU, I actually had 3 big goals before I graduated. The first and most important goal for me was, in my 3 years that I have left, I want to share 100 stories. Now, this is definitely a challenging task because interviewing, finding those people, post-production, putting those stories together, and really bringing them out on social media is definitely challenging. But our first big idea was we want to share inspiring stories of people that you may have seen, but you don't always recognize, as well as people that you know, but you don't know their stories. So if you go to the next slide, over the last 3 years, we were actually able to accomplish that first goal. We have just concluded sharing 130 stories of amazing, amazing people. So in the first image, you see one of our IU event staff who's been here for over 30 to 40 years. She was a student here. She was one of the first ever riders in the women's Little 500 and continues to work with IU events. Or someone that you might see at a game helping you with tickets, but you would never know. So we shared Cheryl Price's story, athletes, Coach Woodson, lots of amazing stories, and reached that first goal of 130 stories. Now my second goal, this was a challenging one. My second goal as a business student, of course, one of my favorite alumni was definitely Mark Cuban. My goal was to tell his story. I wanted to figure out a way to share the story of Mark Cuban as an IU alum. I spent 3 years writing email after email, tried to perfect every email, learning all the things I had in business school, making that perfect 2-paragraph email and sending it to him. And for like close to 2 years, didn't get a single response. Now, that was kind of heartbreaking, but I decided that instead of continuously just doing the same thing over and over again, let me take a step back and really think about my strategy here. I spent the next month or 2 really figuring out everything I could. So I learned about his schedule. I met people that are connected with him. I took a lot of advice, and I learned that Mark doesn't respond to emails that are more than 3 sentences long. So I then spent the next 10 days crafting the perfect 3 sentences. And to my shock, I sent that on a Thursday afternoon. I think it was 11:15 in the afternoon. At literally 3 minutes later, my laptop goes ting, and it was Mark Cuban. And I was hoping to do the interview maybe a week after, flying to Dallas with my team, something like that. And I open it up and he says, "Hey, Sankalp, I'd love to do this. What if I flew to Bloomington tomorrow?" I'm like, oh my God, okay. I responded and I said, yeah, let's do it. And then the next 12 hours of my life were just such a big chaos. I was so stressed. I was worried about how we'd make it work. I pulled my entire team out of class, met with all kinds of people, secured a location, spent that entire night basically watching every single interview he had done so that I can ask him questions that haven't been asked before, that really showcase his IU story. And soon enough, he came out. We asked for 30 minutes. I think I did a good job with the interview. He stayed with us for about 2 hours, which was unbelievable, and just a tremendous story of an IU alum that's very, very down to earth, but continues to do great, great stuff. That brought me to my final goal. Now, as a freshman, I was at a women's basketball game, and they are my favorite IU sports team. I like to say that all the time. Women's basketball, there you go. So I was at a women's basketball game, and I saw President McRobbie while he was still president, and Lori McRobbie as well. And I decided to walk up to them, and People of IU was still an idea at the time. And I met with President McRobbie, introduced myself, and I told him about how I want to create this organization, People of IU, share inspiring stories. And he was the kindest, nicest leader that I have ever met. He was very proud, gave me a lot of different ideas. And in the end, he said, Sankalp, how do you want to conclude your 4 years here? How do you want to end those 4 years with the organization? And I said, I don't know. I want to share the 100 stories, and I think that's it, right? And he said, here's an idea for you. You will have 100 stories, and I know you'll do more. But why not bring all of those 100 stories together, and to celebrate our 200 years, why not create a historic coffee table book for the university of the 130 stories? So we spent the last whole year publishing this wonderful, wonderful book of all the stories that we've covered over the last 3 years. And now this book sits in the president's offices, the provost's offices, Coach Woodson, Mark Cuban, and all the people that are a part of the organization. So as a gift from me to the Rotary Club, everyone will receive a copy of the book as they're going around, as well as a poster. Of course. But as you receive your book, you will see this is a project that, unlike others, was completely student run. Everything in that book was created by a student. Every part of that book was created by a student, and is 4 years of work of 6 students that are really passionate about the university. So I have a quick video as I come to the conclusion of my talk from President Whitten that I'd like to play, if you can help me with that.
Congratulations on a tremendous book. I've been following your work on social media, and I wanted to say congratulations. This book is truly a culmination of your hard work over the past few years and an amazing collection of IU stories. As a student-run and led organization, you've highlighted over 100 IU students, faculty, staff, and alumni, and you've shared their unique stories in the most unique way. Congratulations on the launch of your new book. I can't wait to read it and put it on my own coffee table. Well done. Hey, People of IU,
So yeah, just last week, about a week and a half ago, we had the official People of IU 4-year celebration and the official launch of the book. And Hank Walter was there, Elaine Barker was there, Jim Bright was there. But this was our beautiful, yeah, there he is, there he is. This was sort of my contribution to the university that has given me so much in whatever little way I can give back. And our goal moving forward now is to continue this tradition year after year. For the next 4 years, we'll have a new team that hopefully concludes with the next book. And maybe when I come back 20, 30 years later, we have a collection of People of IU books that represent the history and the most important part of our university, its people. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sankalp. That was absolutely incredible. I have to say that there are actually a few Rotarians in that book, which is really wonderful. And you know, it's going to be amazing to see where your life takes you. In thanks for everybody who comes to talk to us, we support a local agency, and the local agency this quarter is HealthNet, which is actually an organization that used to be called Volunteers in Medicine, that was started by a member of the Rotary Club, Raj Hadawi. And so we're just, it sort of comes full circle to support an organization like that. The other thing that I'm struck by is how amazing the complexity of our cultural makeup in this country is, and how people like you and Raj
lead us in such inspiring ways. So thank you so much for everything that you do. Really, really amazing. Do we have any questions for Sankalp before? Because I think we have about 5 minutes if anybody wants to speak to him about his experience here. John Armstrong is going to ask the question, and maybe I'll just mention the question. So
yeah, just curious how you.
oh, there is a microphone and there is.
John, my birthday is tomorrow. Just curious how you source funding for all of this great work. Did you find grants? Did you find individual sponsors? How did that work?
No, that's a good question, and thank you for asking. We actually had 3 big supporters. The first ever that, kind of came out and supported us, I think 2 years ago, was IU Ventures. They had a grant that, they had for a student organization, which helped us out a lot. The second was the IU Foundation. They actually, a big thing for us was the IU Foundation has actually pre-ordered 200 copies of the book to send to some of our alumni and donors and things like that. And then our biggest supporter actually came from the Women's Philanthropic Leadership Council. So this is one person, which is literally my IU twin. She went to IU several years ago before me, but was also an RA. I'm an RA. She started an organization. I started People of IU. She actually was one of the co-founders of IU Dance Marathon. And she's just this wonderful alumni. Her name is Amy, and she was one of the biggest contributors that helped make this book a reality. Yeah. Thank you for asking.
Next for you, Sankalp.
That's a great question. So I was 100% set on going to consulting, like most other Kelly kids. I was going to go to Chicago, accept that EY job. But my heart always lied in sales. I love meeting people, working with people, being in sales, and really connecting with people and building long-term relationships. And I was, as I was close to my recruiting cycle, this company called Bunzel from St. Louis reached out and they said, why don't you just fly to St. Louis, meet our team, and see what you think? And clearly enough, they swept me away. The next day I signed with them. And so now I'm headed to St. Louis and I'll be doing sales there.
So when people see it and want to purchase the book, where can they purchase it?
So you can buy it anywhere. It's available in Target, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, will soon be at the IU bookstore. You just have to look it up, People of Indiana University, and you can buy as many as you want.
If we were meeting in the Georgian room today,
Yes.
would we be surrounded by the photographs from the people of IU?
That is correct. So the Union Board, actually, which is another fantastic student organization that runs the IMU, has in the Georgian room seen that over the last several years, we had photographs of trustees in there. And one of the conscious decisions that the Union Board made was, this is a student union, and so we should celebrate our student leaders. So we partnered up with the Union Board and we've created a rotating photo gallery in your Georgian room where you guys are every Tuesday generally. And that is a photo gallery of student leaders, and it'll keep changing every 4 years along with their stories, and there's QR codes to scan them and learn more about amazing students that are doing great things. So thank you for that shout out.
I may have missed this, but what brought you to Indiana University in the first place?
So that is a really good question, actually. I was always 100% going to go into business and be an entrepreneur. And it came down to 3 big schools for me in the US, finally came down to UNC and IU. And because I was in India, I couldn't fly all the way here just to look at campuses. But the one thing that really stood out, 2 things. One, I reached out to a lot of alumni from both schools to connect with them, gain experiences. And the IU alumni truly spoke to me like they cared about me, like I already was a Hoosier, and that matters a lot. And the second big thing, like I said, was I was an entrepreneur back home in India, and I had 2 mentors that are just phenomenal entrepreneurs that do amazing work in India, and they both actually went to IU. So to go to the big university that your mentors went to is always a blessing, and that's how I chose it.
Thanks, Schwartzberg. Anybody online? Do you want to ask if anybody online? Is anybody online there to ask a question?
Okay, I know some of the faces are very familiar to all of us, but many are not. How did you distill your selection and how did you decide who you were going to?
That's a really good question. So I still remember when I was a freshman, the IMU dining hall wasn't renovated yet. And there was this one lady that worked as a cashier there, biggest smile on her face, always. And she wore these crazy big hats. So she'd wear like snake hats, clown hats, all kinds of fun stuff. And every single student knew who she was as the hat lady, but no one knew who she actually was. So I really tried to make an endeavor to, through my student circle, find people like that. You know, people that everyone recognizes, people that are really contributing to our university, but doing so from the shadows, that aren't really, you know, spoken about, aren't really talked about. Another one that is really close to my heart, and you might know him, his name's Joel Washington, who's a tremendous, tremendous artist, you know, but again, a story that not a lot of students know. And so we tried to mix it up by using our network and finding those authentic stories that are hidden, while also telling stories of those famous athletes and coaches that you know, but you don't really know their background. So we try to mix up and do both, mostly through our network.
One more question. Here we go.
Well, to some extent, this is personal privilege, but I just wanted to greet your parents.
Of course.
It was so wonderful to meet you as a family when you first arrived. And they're just great people, and you honor all of us and then them, I'm sure. So greetings.
There he is. There he is. That's so nice of you. Thank you. Yeah, my parents are my biggest supporters. You probably see them at Rotary meetings every time they're here. Jim invites us. They love Elaine. They love everyone at Rotary. And they're also here online today from India. I don't even know what time it is. It's like midnight there, but they're still here. So cheers to my dad.
Thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate it. And we are there for IU.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Good.
I think there's one more. Yeah.
I wanted to thank you for your generous offer of bringing books today. And I wondered if anybody in the room has yet today received their second copy. They already have one, because most people at this table do not.
Oh, we'll have to get them to you.
There are anybody who has received a second copy because you already have one, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Share that.
And I'm happy to bring some more as well. I can work with Elaine and get everyone a copy. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, I think we need 8 more.
Done.
All those people online too. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yes, yes. And Sankalp has a request. As we close out the meeting, I'm going to say a few words here. But after we've finished the meeting, if we could all join each other here at the front of the room, and he's going to take a group picture with all of us.
And the books.
And the books, with all the books themselves. So we'll do that in a moment. Talking about people of Rotary, how about thanking Dakir for greeting everybody today, Jim Sims for introducing our guests, Joey Harder online, supporting us always, Dave Meyer for that wonderful reflection. Susie Graham is our reporter for the month, and that's no small task. Michael Shermas, always supporting us with everything that he does, and then Martin Nichols. So let's give a round of applause for all of those people of Rotary. Thank you. So next week we'll be able to enjoy those beautiful photographs, and we'll join each other in the Jordan room and on Zoom. Sorry, was there something there? Nope. We will welcome a few Rotarians, actually, Alex Crowley and Holly Warren from the city of Bloomington. They will join their colleagues, Jeff Jackson and Michaela Lynch, and they'll be talking about arts, sustainability, and economic development in Bloomington. So that's what we're going to be doing next week. And also just a quick shout out, this evening at 5:30 at the John Waldron Arts Center at Constellation, there's going to be a discussion between the 3 Democratic mayoral candidates about the arts and arts development in Bloomington. So I'm definitely going to go to that one. With that, let's go ahead and share our 4-way +1 test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And fifth, is it fun? Thank you all so much. And let's have our photograph in the front of the room here.